All right, welcome guys to another weekly Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Ash,
Hello.
Mod Aiza,
Hello.
myself, Mod Archie, and Mod Wolf.
Hello.
We have Mod Maz on the keyboard gathering questions from the chat. It always sounds like an instrument.
I was going to say keyboard like beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep.
So at OSRS with any
Very
questions you
keyboard
might have, and we do have Mod West finally taking a well-deserved stretch after modeling Legend Arts' redesign of his armor kit there. Looks like he's making some really good progress.
A stretch.
Well, I wasn't able to tune in early on, but to see where it's come to now, it looks really good. Is there much more that you plan to do to that, Mod West?
Potentially just finish up a few pretty much there.
Okay. So you're going to be making progress throughout the stream, then we'll check back. Okay, cool.
And then I'll also show the bosses as well.
Yeah. Actually, let me throw because I have a message from Sween I was going to mention on this stream, so let me see if I can load that
load the
up.
phone back up again.
Yeah,
Do these microphones still pick up our phones when we have them?
I'll be quick. Cause any disturbance in the force of
Like that
microphones.
bad boy in airplane mode, you'll be fine.
Right. So, talking about the Q&A this week, there's a few things to talk about. We have a bit of a recap from last week, rather. Anybody want to mention what we did for last week's update? What did we do last week? We've taken out the Easter event now?
No, that's going out tomorrow.
Okay.
So you've got
Tomorrow.
until tomorrow morning to do the Easter event if you haven't already. Hand eggs will be added to Django's store.
Cool. I actually can't fully remember last week.
It was
It was
quality
a
of
very
life.
busy
Yeah,
week.
a lot of qual.
Yeah.
And that's when we kicked off the World Road to
That's
Change.
because you didn't write the news post
Yeah.
last week.
Like some of the bigger changes that happened last week were like engine side in preparation for the upcoming beta.
Yes, because of course to run apps like that, we now have to launch the engine further in advance of the game update so that it can be reviewed by Apple either for test flight or for the full Apple Store, which means that it's a lot less flexible than when we could just have the engine team finish something, run it through QA and launch it. We now have to wait several days, but hopefully you'll find it worth it. So that was going on last week. Also, preparing some of the interface work. I don't think we included it in the update, but it was going on behind the scenes, preparing the interfaces for mobile users based on the usability points people raised from the original Android beta. So hopefully we'll see some improvement to some of that stuff. There's more to be done though.
Right. So the first thing people want to talk about right now is the membership increase. That's understandable. Naturally, people aren't very happy about paying more money for something they want to enjoy. So just a few quick notes on that. Essentially, when we started Old School, you were here, 3
There
people.
were 3 of us in 2013.
And now we've got 19 people and counting. We're adding more to the team. We're trying to hire, I believe, 2 devs.
This doesn't even count the people who now do support Old School who in other departments.
Yep.
That 19 is just the ones who are solely on Old School.
Web engine player support. I'm not going to start listing because I'm going to forget some, but there's a lot. It was the first price increase for 3 years. If you stay subscribed, it won't affect you at all. You'll have 14 days, up to 14 days, I should say, to resubscribe. And that's it. Yeah, there's a lot of content. There's a lot of really, really big, exciting projects that we simply wouldn't have had the time to do or the resource or the ability to do in the past, such as mobile, Raids 2, etc. And now we finally have the scope to do that. So hopefully that kind of helps explain things a little bit for you guys. That's mostly all I'm going to say there. But yeah, we are hiring. So if you want to work for us, we'll try to get that link in the chat. Thank you, Mod Maz. Now, off the back end of that, we had the mobile beta go live, was it just yesterday?
Was yesterday Tuesday?
The
Invites.
invitation
So invites
went out
yesterday.
yesterday. The
Sorry.
beta opens opens on Friday.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
The mobile beta for Apple, I believe, the invites went out yesterday. Again, this is purely for testing purposes, so no exclusive invites. A lot of people are saying, why didn't I get this, why didn't I get that? We're looking for testing. We want to make sure that we can make it as perfect as possible for when it is fully released to everybody.
There's a lot of cool stuff going out as well for mobile this week that obviously only people who have the beta. Do I have a solo cam this week? Great. Do you want to swap Ash? I think it'll be more. The
No, I'm big in.
beta's coming out with a couple of things like single-click deposit and withdraw. You might have saw it a couple of weeks back on stream. I think we showed it for the bank and shop interfaces. We've made a couple of things left-click instead of use ops. We're making something specifically for mobile better, but only when you're on mobile. So you shouldn't see any changes. If you see any changes on desktop, they shouldn't be there. So let us know.
Give or take a few pixels here and there.
Yeah, give or take.
Right.
Just on that note, actually, while we talk about mobile, we said, the beta invites went out yesterday. If you believe that you have received a beta invite and it's via email, make sure that you go to the message center first. If you don't have an inbox message, but you have an email, then it's a fraudulent email. It's a phishing attempt, so ignore it. Always make sure that you check your inbox message. The beta will go live on Friday. I believe it is at 2 p.m. And then it will end next Thursday with the game update. Make sure you check your message center. There will be details in there in terms of where you can go in terms of testing feedback, in terms of the controls and FAQ. Should all be listed in there. And if you have any other questions, just give us a shout.
There's a lot more invites this time as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I think 5,360, I think.
And
or
people-
so.
5341, if I recall the news post.
There we
People
go.
complaining, saying, why not Android? We did Android first. We've already done an Android.
Do you remember when we did Android, people were saying, why not
Why not
iPhone?
iOS?
Anyways,
Well, if this one goes well, then hopefully we'll be able to have a beta or possibly beta on both at the same time.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will go well too.
yeah.
A lot of it's not just about the content, it's about having our systems all geared up to doing updates. Because if we launch on mobile and then say, yeah, but we can no longer do game updates without a really, really awkward process that takes a month, that's actually not going to be very good for all the existing players on desktop.
Yeah.
So a lot of what goes into it is not just, yeah, I can now fight Vorkath, that must be done and ready. We need to be able to operate as well, I'm afraid.
And as a general kind of discussion point, the way that we operate with updates, let's talk about Raids 1, for example, is there's not really a point where we can say it is absolutely perfect, could never be improved, or there's nothing that we would want to add, maybe another room or what have you. It's kind of how much time do we have, how much resource do we have, and let's make this as best as we possibly can. And if we need to push back the date to make it even better, then we can do, and we will. But in theory, like we do have to keep to timetables, and with mobile, it's kind of, we want to make sure it is absolutely perfect. We would not want to release it and then say, actually, let's go and do this and add this and this based on feedback. So we're just kind of trying to make it as perfect as it can be. Obviously, it's our first time doing anything like this.
Yes.
So we appreciate the collaboration.
Of course, once we get to open betas or betas, then at least our players will be able to play with the thing if they want to, even if we're not ready to call it a full commercial launch. So I think that means you get all the win you want, and we would still have the flexibility to finish off those little details.
Right. So I have one exciting announcement to talk about quickly before we move into the questions, and that is I've now organized the Raids 2 Theater of Blood playtest. So this is an event that we started to do surrounding content for old school RuneScape. We've done them in the past for Fossil Island, a bit of a playtest for mobile. We've done it for
Dragon Slayer?
Dragon Slayer. We did it for the Inferno. It was very, very valuable for the Inferno and the other projects as well. Essentially, we know that some of you guys, some, not all, some of you guys are better players than we are. Naturally, we work on the game
Quite
for 9 hours a day.
proportion of them.
Some of you can play the game for 9 hours a day. So we have a good understanding that a lot of you guys are so much better than we can ever imagine to be, and we want this content to be as impressive as it can be, obviously. So we want to get the best of the best in the office to help play test, and also kind of just give a look, gather opinions from different people. So what I've invited this time around, or the people I've invited this time around for Theater of Blood, is a bit of a mix between live streamers and people that we've worked with in the past, and we really value their opinions and decisions, and then also some lesser known, but obviously still known players in the community, people who are known for their incredible PVM skill. It is something to say that I can't find out about the best PVMers if I can't find their streams or YouTubes or anything like that. I need to actually see that they're good. So I'm getting a lot of people right now saying, you didn't invite this guy, and he's obviously the best. I'm like, I've never heard of that guy. I'm so sorry. But we do have a limited amount of invites. So again, please be accepting if somebody that you feel should be invited wasn't invited. We will try to incorporate more people in the future. That being said, enough of a tangent. Let's get the image on the
I
screen.
thought you were going to give names.
And we'll, hold on.
You got an image?
Image on the screen.
Oh, this is professional.
There it is.
Whoa. You
Okay.
put like,
Somebody is.
I'm impressed.
Oh, Lucid Dream. We named a music track after them.
So you're going to see a bunch of names in there. Some of you will recognize some really iconic PVMers in there, some iconic live streamers. Just chatting to Lucid Dream earlier, actually, I believe he has the most Raids 1 completions, so he's kind of an obvious invitation there. And with this group, yeah, well, I think we're going to have some really, really incredible results to come with Theater of Blood. We've got some really great PVM minds there, some great skill and general knowledge and understanding of mechanics and the way that Raids 1 works and other boss mechanics.
I was so impressed with that production quality. I was expecting you to read them out on a list. I'm happy.
The thing I like is that if Chris holds his head kind of central, he seems to have a halo from the circle behind him.
Yeah.
We're also wearing like a very similar jumper today, which is, we didn't coordinate very well.
No, I know. We're literally like
Text each
matching.
other this morning. Hey, yeah, you wear that. Wear
It's
that
like,
reddish
don't wear
jumper."
that one.
Right. So there we go. I'm not going to bother replying to anybody saying, why'd you invite this guy? Why didn't you invite this guy? If people want to share those opinions, that's on you. I don't really care. Moving on to the questions, I think, just as a final note, I think that this playtest is going to be incredibly valuable. We're going to be able to share with you as much as we possibly can. We're hoping to get some great live streaming content out of it without spoiling the raids too much, of course. They're not going to be playtesting anything like the quest. Obviously, we don't want to spoil the story there. But yeah. So really looking forward to that. We're looking at mid-May for that, and we'll be sharing as much of that as possible. Moving on to the Q&A. Here we go. Questions. First one's from Fraser. He says, could the drops from Vorkath be noted? Having 3 rune kite shields or long swords drop is hard to juggle in an inventory.
The reason for that, I imagine, is to force you to bring alks as opposed to pick up the items.
Yep.
I imagine that's probably why it was done like that. As in, hey, you either you lose resources or supplies, for that matter. You have to make that way up. I know they'll juggle them anyway, but there's only so much you can juggle, right?
Sacrifice if you want to stay there longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The thing is, so many people like ask for this so many times,
Yeah.
and like obviously, you know, we work for the community, right? And if it's really, really wanted, then you know, I'm sure that we can look at it. But Vorkath's pretty profitable as it is.
Already, yeah.
And noting those bones is going to, noting those drops is going to extend the amount of time that you have there, the amount of kills that you do per instance, you know, per trip, however you want to name it. And that in turn is going to increase your kills per hour, which increases the GP per hour even further.
It's compounding, isn't it?
So, I don't know.
I'm going to say no on that one.
I mean, you could take alks and then you lose out on, 2 pieces of food because you're already on normal spellbook as it is.
And coins.
Yeah.
If you,
So it's like 3, but then, you know, 3 slots for what would have been 3 rune kite shields.
yeah,
But you know what?
I agree.
We are so scared to say no on these Q&A.
No, I'm saying no right now.
You
Well,
have
they're
to
saying no
appreciate
quite a lot.
But yeah, you know what? I think we just need to sometimes
It's just because, you know,
put our
there's-
feet down, Ben.
Yeah, I
and
know,
say,
but there are, you
no.
know, there's times when it's like, why are we the people that decide what we do and don't poll
Yeah,
when
that's
technically
fair.
it's the
because
community?
we work for the company that makes the game.
Yeah, I know. So we always have to have like this this overriding sense of, okay, we feel like we know what's best most of the time. But ultimately, if they really want it, we can do it.
They don't want it.
Cool. That's
There we
great
go.
then. Sorry, Fraser.
I am not sour. Stop saying I'm sour.
I like the edgy Chris
Mile.
Raw XD comment. That one got me. No.
You're the only one that likes that.
No,
Okay. Algin says, can Pura Pura be changed so hopping worlds take you back to the outside of the entrance? Bots scout hopping worlds, and this would mean they would have the inconvenience of starting from the center of the wheat instead of the spawn of the rare implings.
What was the area again?
Puro
Puro
Puro.
Puro.
Oh, okay.
The place for the
I
implings.
say Puro. Maybe I pronounced
Puro
it.
Puro.
So
Sounds
the
like a
reason
K-pop
why
song.
is noble, right? For what?
I was just saying that Puro Puro is like, sounds like some lyrics out of a K-pop song.
The reason why is pure. Like the reason to do it is for a good reason. It's to stop people. Oh God, it's weird having a single camera. The reason is like they want to stop because there's specific rare spawns, isn't there, in that area?
Mm-hmm.
Specific locations where rares always appear, and that's where they're hopping to find where they appear, right? I don't see a problem with it, but doesn't it affect normal players as well? Don't they hop and scout?
It would affect normal players as much.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do we have West mic'd up? Are they hearing this? No, not yet. Okay. Sorry. Say it again. Sorry.
Because players want to hop as well.
Yeah.
It's not just the bots that are trying to do this, it's legitimate players.
Yeah.
So the fix would mess up
Affect players.
regular players as well.
Okay.
Is there any other way we could do something similar?
Well, we could do exactly what was asked for. It would affect regular players as much as bots, but they might actually be all right with it.
I mean, if implings go up by a value that makes it worthwhile having that inconvenience all of a sudden.
Unless you're an Iron Man, and then it's just frustration all around.
Yeah, that's true.
If it is genuinely a concern with botting, then it can come down to integrity, and we can look at what we can do to obviously get around that. But if it is more of an issue just surrounding genuine players, then that's something that would obviously have to be pulled, and you guys would have your say on.
Spreading the things more randomly around the maze wouldn't have been very hard.
Okay. Something to consider.
There we go. That'd be. I think that's a pretty spawn idea. Instead of having it be, this is where most of the rare things spawn, have it be a bit more random.
All right. And now I'm salty. I'm sorry. I'm not salty.
Salty sour.
Lick him and see if he's salty.
Don't do that.
I'll pass.
Right, next question. Rangelicious says, the last priority poll was made in July 2016. Can we see another of these polls, and what does the team think of them?
Ooh, interesting.
I think they're really valuable.
They are.
We generally have a really good idea of what you guys want and like, mostly because some of us are players ourselves, and also we work with you guys a lot, very, very closely every single day, including live streams like these. That being said, we don't know everything, and so I think it's always nice to kind of step back and see what you guys value more than other stuff.
I haven't done one since I joined JX, and I've been trying to figure out as much as possible between everyone in the team as well what it is that, what kind of things should we be doing, and I think they really do give you a very good top level idea of where focuses should be. I mean, that being said, we know that we've got content that we want to provide this year, so we could always look at doing one later this year for the next year perhaps.
It's a good thing to ask, even if there isn't a particular piece of content involved at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, we haven't always responded to them in the most useful way, like when we ran a priority survey and found that I think it boiled down to most people like PVM, specifically Slayer, and we started churning out Slayer content like the Clappers, and I think we managed to overdo it.
That's all right.
Having got the results doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do something great, but it's good to have it.
It was great. We did some great stuff. We did Slayer bosses and Superior Slayer and that such. And
Yeah, I was thinking like 2015, we might have found the limit.
I think when you meet a demand to a point, that goes down, and then where the majority of people's, we want lots of Slayer stuff.
Yeah.
Now that's not going to be as high, and we'll go on other places, and we get an indication of what they want next.
Well, the thing is, it's 2015. At that point we had done almost no skilling updates since the launch of Old School, and in response to a priority survey, we'd started churning out Slayer after Slayer after Slayer after Slayer because it seemed more interesting to people than than skilling content. Fortunately, we have rebalanced the balance a bit since then. So, at the very least, it's polite to ask.
And we have questions today to go through and talk about it a bit more specifically. But when we do put out a poll, and let's say it's like 60% of players would prefer us to focus on PVM or Slayer, it's not like we go to the drawing board and say we need to think of something that's really good for Slayer/PVM, but only so much that 60% of the players would enjoy it. Right? We want, and we might be converting other players, maybe skillers or PKers, to also enjoy it in that time. So it can turn out to be bigger than it actually maybe was intended to be. But anyways, Preturn says Raids 1 seemed to have a more diverse set of rewards than Raids 2. Are you going to be? That was the question. That was all that was typed.
Okay.
We're joining question gathering today.
Oops.
That's all right.
I think the rest of that question.
What the rest of the question is.
I think the rest of the question was meant to be, are you repolling any of the failed stuff? Or
That's a good question.
yeah, I think that's what it was. Sorry,
It's all right.
yeah.
I really like the
appreciate
first part of the question anyway. I think that's probably the best part about it, is like when you compare the Theatre of Blood rewards to the Chambers of Xeric rewards, there's a considerable amount less, right? Let's face it, there is. But does that mean that it's worse? Because are these rewards better so that they're more valuable individually rather than having a saturated pool of rewards that are just worth less? Because obviously there's more of them. I mean, the skill and items that came from Chambers of Xeric the reality is we probably could have got rid of those, right? And Tremors of Xeric would still have been fine. So I think there's the difference between Theatre of Blood and Chambers is that, yes, there's less. I don't think you need to have that huge amount of diversity because it's going to make sure that the items that are there are rarer. They're going to be worth more. And I think that they're actually like much more like well-rounded items overall. So, yeah. As the second question about are we going to repol?
Yeah.
I think at some point we will potentially looking at reworking the smaller rewards, but that will probably be it. We're not looking to add a huge amount of new rewards. We just look to see if there's anything we can do with the potions and the prayer that failed and leave it at that because we're really happy with what we have. Unless obviously you guys aren't really happy with what you have, and then we can change.
Seeing some question marks, I'm going to try to summarize very quickly. Basically, Raids 1, as you said, tons of rewards, didn't need that many. Raids 1 also very different. There's skilling in that, so we can offer skilling rewards, and they're a bit more fitting. No skilling in Raids 2, we're not looking to offer skilling rewards. In fact, we think that the few rewards that we have offered, which have obviously passed a poll and been received very well, we think that that's actually enough. So there's not really much demand to say you really need to add much more, so we're not eagerly looking right now to add more to it, but if in the future, if we need to, then we can go back to the drawing board.
There's also a lot of, over time, you're bringing out too many rewards with pieces of content. Dragon Slayer 2 was one of the most common things. Is like, there's way too many rewards coming from a quest here. The reality, where do you stop?
There is no right number.
There's no right. I don't even know what to say to that because it's
well, I mean,
this way, left, right.
It would be nice if we had like a chart and it said like, all right, small quest, medium quest, hard quest, and then it was like rewards.
1, 2, 3.
Pretty good. All right, lots. We don't have that.
Well, that's the thing as well. Like Dragon Slayer, a lot of stuff, but there wasn't like a lot. There
was a lot of content.
There was a lot of smaller stuff. Like I wouldn't class the Dragon Plate body as like a standout, kick out, like best in slot, Justice Your Armor, best tank gear, right? It was filling in the gap while we had the opportunity to fill it in thematically. So,
right.
What are the what?
I'm going to try and stop waffling because I do that a lot, don't I? Just keep going on.
Talk more. They are asking for Ash to cough more.
Oh. Oh no!
I'm so sorry, stream. I was joking.
Maz has just been slightly deafened.
Next question.
Right, moving on. There is one. Here we go. What is something that failed a poll within the last year that you as a player would have liked to see pass?
Ooh.
I like that question. I think it was probably one of the best ones that I pulled. I was quite happy with that one. I didn't have an answer to it.
I would say personally, a couple of the things out of the PvP poll.
I think.
I'm surprised the Corinne favor one failed.
Yeah.
The
so
Corinne favor.
We polled locking it in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the most recent one actually, and that'll be my. So I have 2 examples. The first one, most recent, being from the last poll, the Corinne favor. If you couldn't hear West, we polled that you no longer had to lock in favor at 100% before you could then gain favor in another house. We wanted it so that just like many people asked, so they could, get favor in any house at any time and not have to worry about filling it out. So there's that one, and then the other one that I was quite surprised at was with the PvP worlds, where running into a safe area, you would still be able to get attacked for, I think it was 6 or 7 seconds if you'd been in combat with someone before. I mean, I personally don't do any PvP, so it doesn't affect me. But that's one that I thought would have passed, but didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of rushers, I guess. I don't know.
Getting rid of the wilderness ditch would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've always thought, it's not necessary. I think I like that one, but I'm kind of indifferent.
I think if we had something that people couldn't be lured through, I'd be very happy to see the back of it. But I'd still like to have a visible marker on the edge that you could walk across if you knew what you're doing.
There is one. I don't actually remember if we did poll this, but it was a suggestion that I was in favor of, and that was opening up the north end of the Gren Exchange.
Oh, yes.
Which would have allowed you to jump over the wilderness, and that would have been multi, and we would have had a nice little Edgeville multi area for PKing.
I don't get why that didn't pass outside. I guess nostalgia was probably the main answer.
Or maybe if it was an agility shortcut that was a kind of crevice, a kind of crack in your wall or something, so that you had to have a similar agility requirement to the existing shortcut.
Yeah, but the shortcut's still quicker. Like by a small chunk.
Oh, it would have been, but maybe that was a problem for some people.
Yeah, I think some of the comments that I saw, I'm not sure how serious they were, but it was around about lore. I think it was like referencing towards like Game of Thrones as well, but it's like the G's there with a wall to prevent against things coming in from the wilderness. Why would they open it up and then
That's so not true.
you just put guards there? And I was reading that, I was just like, wait, is this serious?
Somebody said because it devalues a shortcut. I'm sorry, it's like a level 27 or 1?
21, I think.
It's
Agility
very
shortcut.
low,
Like, we could have made it better. We could
I believe we still have Mod West's mic active, so we're listening to some keyboard.
Oh.
Click faster, Mod West.
Type like you mean it.
Okay. Speaking of which, just a few more minutes, and I think we'll head back over to Mod West. He has some really exciting stuff to show. The armor he's been working on all day, and revealing bosses or monsters from Raids 2, Theater of Blood. Next question. Frank says, can you prioritize equipment over food and potions when reclaiming all items on death? Being for Zulrah and Vorkath.
That would be cool.
Well, if you're reclaiming things you lost at Vorkath, then there's an interface, you can take them in the order you want.
Yeah, I think that's...
In the case of Zulrah, we never added the interface, but we could, although I would like to add a fee to it if we did.
Yes.
I agree with that. I think that's a good middle ground. Because Zulrah was the first interface of that made, it's made the downside... it's free, but you have to take this stuff first, so it's a little bit more inconvenient for people who would store stuff in there. Whereas the other ones, you can, as Ash said, you can click and choose what you get out.
That's cool.
So if you would like that additional benefit from that gravestone, it would then also need to have
You've got
the
to pay for
additional
it.
cost from the other grave systems.
Can we straw pull this one, please, Mod Mass?
What's that setup? Is it possible by any chance for the button that you can click to put everything into your inventory at Torfin? Is it possible to make it so that when you click that, it will prioritise armour over food?
Yeah.
Do you die often at Vorkath?
Probably like once every time that I go there. So like out of it, I don't know, once every 30 or so kills.
Yeah, 30.
So
We're going to straw pull the fee to collect or prioritize collection at Zulrah, is that right? And
The menu to let you choose what you get in what order from Zulrah.
okay.
And if we add this, you would have to pay a fee to collect your items at all,
Okay.
like you do at Torfin.
So the price to be decided afterwards, but based on the general idea, you were to vote yes or no on this straw poll. Again, not representative of anything in the actual game. We're just looking for a general consensus from the Twitch chat. Thank you. Okay. One more question, then we'll head over to Mod West. Where have we gone to here? I'm going to say this name wrong, because I always do. Novise?
Novisi.
Novisi.
Isn't it Novzi?
Or Novisi.
Novzi.
I thought it's like what, like Novzi,
Oh,
What are we talking about?
like
three
no,
options.
like Nosy, Novzi, like his.
Novzi.
I think so.
Okay.
Like you're being nosy.
Hopefully one of those are right. He's in the chat. I'm sorry. All right. Can we see the addition of an extra Dust Devil room in the Catacombs of Korend? And follow up, consider task-only room and drop changes.
Okay. It is really frustrating trying to get a world. Okay. It is aggravating to get a world inside of those catacombs. Okay. But they are very, very nice droppers at the moment. They drop. They pay for your trip of bursting. Okay. Now I'm not saying change that, but what I am saying is there always has to be a way up of giving too many places to kill things versus what they give. And so I'd happily make a room, maybe a task only with different drops.
or a lesser amount of dust.
Lesser amount of the stuff perhaps that they drop. Maybe?
What if you could only get 5 instead of 7, for example? I'm not sure how many you tag, but what if there were less dust devils there? So it was a trade-off, but it wasn't like too...
A fee to enter, similarly.
Oh yeah, let's put fees on everything. I'm not even joking. I love it. So we have straw polled. Would you like a fee to prioritize collection from Zulrah? Only at 59% yes. So not much support for that. As far as this Dust Devil idea, we're not really getting much feedback at all from Twitch right now. They're just spamming memes.
Yeah, it's hard because it's annoying because if you've ever done it, it is the most frustrating thing in the world, just hopping worlds over and over again. But just adding more rooms, that's just like, oh, it's really annoying having to get a Bandos kill. Can you just add 7 Gradors, please? The answer would be no, right? And similarly, this kind of stands. But it's a slightly different scenario because it's creatures, right?
So they seem to be a bit more. I say they. I mean the few people that are spamming very loudly in favor of fees, as they're obviously gold sinks, and we all like gold sinks. So it's something to consider, and we can probably take it on to a future conversation. That sounds like it's going to have some balancing and deciding what the price is, or the fee rather. Right, Mod West, are you ready? He is ready. Take it away, Mod West.
Hey, how's it going? So I've just been doing a little bit of pushing around, pulling around on the armor kit that I've been working on all today. As you can see, it's looking slightly better. I think it's looking better. I can't really tell. So last week I showed this set in where's the color palette? It was in this color palette. I've not got the current one out. But if you've not been here today, I've been working on this concept that essentially the community have come together and created. This one piece was created by Legends Arts. He always does some really nice pieces, and I just couldn't wait to get started on this. So as you can see, I've started working on it. Still fighting with the helmet a little bit. It's looking a lot better than it was earlier, but it's still looking. I don't really think I can get it this thin without it start looking like he's got a really small head. As you can see here, the bucket helm is bigger than it, and this Tyrus helm is also of a similar size. So I worry. I've beefed up the shoulders quite a bit, as you can see, but. I mean, yeah, it's getting there. Everyone seems, I think they're happy. Hopefully it looks bulkier and tankier than the previous outfit. There's no skin showing, so that's a big plus. So yeah, that's the armor. I've also got this other thing to show you, which I think will be very exciting. Hopefully this goes all right. There we go. So these are some mobs that you'll find in raids too. Some of these are 3x3s and some of them are 2x2s, so make from that what you will. As you can see, they've got some very nice animations. These are made by Mod Ghost, so don't give me any credit. It was all Ghost and his awesome artwork. And yeah, you could just watch this all day really, especially when they like explode. And it's so nice. It's gonna be such a rewarding monster to kill as it sort of explodes like that. No, stop saying good job, West. This wasn't me. Ghost did this. Come on, guys.
They're so cool.
So yeah, clappers for Ghost, I guess, and yeah, thanks for tuning into the sneak peek of the week.
All right. Woo. So 2 things real quick. First and foremost, well done, Mod West and Mod Ghost. Okay. Second of all, that video is losing a little bit of frame rate. It's much smoother than that. That's just a recording, obviously. So. And I think lastly, we look forward to seeing what you guys think that they actually do. So we're really excited to reveal the mechanics of Raids 2, Theater of Blood.
I don't think they'll ever guess the whole negative XP thing.
Oh, the negative runecrafting XP.
Oh.
Okay. But we're so funny.
Moving on.
Here we go.
Haha, it's incoming.
Chapter says, can we have the option to right-click the teleport to house spell and teleport outside instead?
Did we do that?
Not from a right click on the spell, did we?
There's an option in the
remember.
house
I remember
options, I think.
putting an option in
where the
somewhere.
options
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember
It's
because of
asking for it
Warcraft
to be a right-click.
before I realised the better method.
Oh.
So right click on the house telly to inside or outside the house.
Yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah.
It's a
Why
house
not?
option already. It's not that it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist.
It's
as a
inconvenient
right-click.
though, isn't it? I guess compared to.
Naz is mic'd up. Take it away.
Yeah, I don't see why not. If we've already got it in game, then the mechanics are there, so it's just moving the mechanics.
Okay.
It's really quite straightforward because teleporting into your house is a matter of being teleported to the portal and then having some script left on you that makes you go in. So by making it not do that, you'd be at the portal.
Does it teleport you to the portal and then off the portal?
Not quite by opping.
All right, that was about to blow my mind.
No, that would get interrupted too easily, and boy, would they know about it.
Cool.
Right. Moving on. D says, can you add a right-click shortcut to Ali Morrison's rune shop?
You've got to haggle with the man to get what you want, though.
Isn't it like a main method of gathering runes for Iron Men? Yeah. I don't see why not. If it defaults to like the worst possible haggle or something, or
Are we doing more shopman mode?
more shopman mode.
There was a question in the chat earlier about what's the most horrible code that I don't want to have to deal with. I think the answer is Ali Morrison.
Like,
Yeah,
is it to do with
Same here.
the chest runes or just trading runes?
I can't remember. I'm just going to embarrass myself more than I do normally if I try and answer. So I'm keeping
on.
quiet on this one.
Like, I don't know if they're talking specifically about the regular shop or the shop that you're given after you do a Sudoku, Rune Doku, original name.
So what we need in instances like this are experts in each specific individual topic in the game.
So
I don't want to be the expert on that guy.
Yes, I'm the
We are-
scenario of the Ali Morrison.
We are experts in our own right, covering a wide array of everything. But some of these guys in the chat, but it's hard to point them out because there's so many people, and some of them are just, well, that's just not true, or maybe that's true. We need to nominate experts. Who is the Ali Morrison expert?
And why?
We'll look into it though. All right. Let's
Stephen,
actually.
Have you come across his code for going back and forth with blackjacks and the different types of blackjack that can be more aggressive or more defensive?
Oh God, yes.
That do nothing, by the way.
Yeah, I tried playing through this as a player and thought, okay, have I completed it yet? No, he wants me to do something else. Okay, have I completed it now? No, he wants me to undo it again. So I asked the developer, where is the end of this? He said, no, it's not meant to be like that. Okay, I don't like it.
Does Ali Morrison have a mini quest log?
I don't think so.
Because everything to unlock on him is actually really annoying to know what you can and
He
can't
doesn't
unlock.
have an end state, see. To be a mini quest, you'd have to actually have an end, but he doesn't. He just keeps going back and forth.
That did confuse
Right.
me the first time as well, and I'm glad that it wasn't just me now.
Right. We are going to gather a question from the chat. So again, @OSRS with any questions. Let's see if any of these stand out. What about a skilling boss that's for thieving? There is a lackluster of thieving content. I mean, there are so many skills that we'd love to see skilling bosses for. I know that there was a really interesting concept for construction brought up like a few months ago, and it's really just a matter of saying, yeah, that sounds incredible, but how much of that is even possible? And how much of that do we have time for? How much of that is really wanted by the majority of the community? And then kind of prioritizing those ideas.
Yeah.
Is thieving at the top of the list for skills to receive a skilling boss?
Like,
It would have to be competing against Arduin Knights and Pyramid Plunder.
Mm-hmm.
Those are interesting things to compete against.
yeah.
Well, if it's not as efficient but more fun, there's that option as well.
I've had a look to Pyramid Plunder already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rune Plunder's pretty spot on. I love it. It's just the Audio Nights are just so much easier, or less effort. That. Yeah.
It's the type of thing that we need so much more than just a question of can we have it. Not to say design the entire thing for us, but that would be nice.
It helps.
But yeah, just kind of a starting point of what you would like to see in that regard.
It actually
kind of
would
get
be
things
rather
going.
helpful to know whether the player's vision of a skilling boss is something like the volcanic mine on Fossil Island, which is really quite interactive and also quite dangerous, or Wintertodd.
I'd argue that a boss requires a health bar, but I know we referred to it as a skilling boss, Volcanic Man to begin with, but I think it's more of a group activity now. That's how I would define it.
Yeah, I don't tend to think of it a boss myself.
I think Wintertodd was perfect if we could.
Interactive skilling challenges.
Yeah.
Interactive.
Anyways, moving on. We have more questions here from the chat. The Iron Man crafting meta is entirely world hopping and crashing to buy sand and seaweed from shops. Could we consider improving it?
I'd be very happy to make sand available in bulk from something that is not a shop.
I agree. The more we can do to move Iron Men away from just hopping and buying stuff from shops, the better.
We tried a little bit with big seaweed, giant seaweed, but it's just not giving enough. Even
I
then.
don't think the quantity's ever been anywhere near enough to compete with a shop.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Also, you got to cook it yourself.
Yeah, it's another one of those things that I don't know if we can give an immediate yes or no answer. Because obviously, speaking as far as this, we'd have to pull it, and there's a chance that it wouldn't pass. But if it is obviously the right thing to do, what other options do we have? So, plenty to it. Will we ever see an expansion to the desert? If not, what about a new bush patch or cactus patch?
I'll be totally up for a new cactus patch, as it seems to be spelled there.
Like a swearing cat. Catcus. I'd like to finish off that. Yeah, I'd like to finish off that bit of the map as well. Just even if it's just filled in right now.
We talk about the bottom or
Like the east.
the east.
The east side.
Yes, that would be nice.
Just
where
to get rid of the black
mascara
squares.
goes in RS3.
I
Plonk a patch there.
really like the idea of this like desert worm boss thing that roams the entire desert. You never know where it is. There's one per world, and it'd be killed by teams or one guy, and has hopefully a reasonable drop table to make it worth your time. But I love that idea. Just like you could be
Sandworm,
running through the desert anywhere, doing whatever, and then boom, big boss, worm boss. Run or fight.
In terms of getting more cactus spines, I'd like the answer to involve farming rather than PVM if possible. But I like that as something else to do in the desert.
Even if we fill that, because I imagine we couldn't put content there if we just filled the map out. But the content we could put in is a cactus patch, maybe even lots of cacti, cactuses, and I say cactuses, like cacti scattered about that you can walk through kind of thing and take damage and you can pick them up, similar to like whiteberry spawns, but you have to actually maneuver and take damage from them because it's so tight with.
Sounds cool.
And you can wear like gloves and stuff, and like your content's great. It's just it would have took like a lot longer than plonking down some cactuses.
That's not a reason not to do it.
Yeah,
Can we straw poll the desert worm boss idea?
desert worm boss
versus wearing gloves
versus
in a cacti
versus
field.
picking cactuses. Okay, I know it's going to win there.
You need reinforced trousers or something so that when you walk past the
I wouldn't want a worm. I'm thinking like Mummy, you know Imhotep from the Mummy series. He's got like a whirlwind. He
Yes.
transforms into like a humanoid mummy. That'd be cool.
I just think it'd be really cool if it was underground and then it just
It just like burrows
appeared
up.
out of nowhere.
Yeah, but they
And it's
have
a
that
big worm
already.
boss.
We're not in our game, but we've done
So what
desert
is- what
worms
is
before.
Do they have a version of this?
Yeah, they have desert worms.
Okay.
Strike worms. That's the name of
And
them.
is there one per world that roams the entire area?
They have one of those in the wilderness,
It-
Ah,
Yeah.
well, we were the first.
The
to visit
Waldy worm.
desert.
but they have a regular desert one.
Yes,
Ah.
outside the Abbey place, there's a guy drawing a strike worm on the ground who's really popular with players stopping and doing the frozen emote on the end of his strike worm picture. I'm not saying why.
Right. It's passing. Yes.
Do you like the desert worm boss type thing idea?
Well done.
Do you want it worm with a WORM or worm WYRM?
Like an earthworm.
Okay.
Oh.
No, I don't know. Spiky worm with teeth. Right. So that's one of my best ideas in the Q&A, I think.
You've let me down, chat. There was no elaboration. It was just a cool idea.
So now we just need a drop table, and then we can potentially look at pulling it.
Yeah.
After finding time to actually make it.
And it drops
I'm-
lots of
I'm not
sand
making it.
in buckets, in banknote form.
Okay. Well done, Twitch chat. Thank you. Moving on. When does the Deadman tournament start? We don't have any dates to release as of yet. As many of you know,
We do?
I think we have.
we have the
summer.
tournament. We have the tournament day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is.
Yeah.
Remind me. Don't want to say the wrong date.
It's June, right?
It's June 30th.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you
Okay, and then you can assume
Hopefully.
the days before then
Yeah.
would in turn be.
So basically, yeah. So in the past, we've done the Monday to the Saturday as the
Is it
tournament.
the 22nd? It's in my head.
We don't know yet. We haven't actually decided on it.
Okay.
So we've done in the past, it's Monday to the Saturday, which is the day of the tournament, being a 5-day thing. And this past time, we actually started it Friday, giving players a bit more time. They had the extra weekend. We don't know if we want to go again with that strategy or go back to the Monday. So
Okay. So yeah,
That's
it's potentially the 22nd or the 25th.
Probably one of those
22nd
2
being the
days.
Friday, the 25th being the following
It's
Monday.
a hard balance, the amount of days, because
Yeah.
you give them more days. The intention of giving more days is that people can play a little more lax. But if you just give 2 more days, then
Everyone
the
just gives
people who
2
are
more days more
hardcore just do.
hardcore, yeah.
Exactly.
I think on that point, Mod Sween has plans to get in touch with a lot of Deadman players, veteran players, as well as your average kind of player that goes in every now and again, and find proper good feedback about what we should do regarding that and many other Deadman changes. So, we'll know when that's been done, really. But the date for the tournament is the 30th of June, and I think that's in the Deadman FAQ, which is on the news page.
Yeah, I think it's on the website. Right. Yesterday, I posted a Reddit post that got a lot of positive response called Chaotic Chemistry. Have you taken a look at this, and do you like it?
I read it. I think Maz read it. Did anybody else read it?
I didn't read it.
Do you want to come over and talk about it, Mod West? Mod Maz as well?
Oh, I feel weird now. Can I sit on the sofa and just get rid
Yes.
You scooch on over. You
Talk loudly.
Yeah, change the camera. Here you go. Put the mic on.
Oh,
Mic right.
I read it. It's like, did you
You're right.
read it?
No,
Read
you're
it?
Right.
Read it?
Yeah.
I think I took the day off Reddit yesterday.
I did.
I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah, it sort of ties in with something I was already planning, not quite in the same way, but sort of herb lore mini game where you get like an outfit. Although you went with a sort of chemistry outfit, and I was going with more of a sort of plague doctor. But I like the idea of a herb lore mini game.
Where are your shoes?
He was sat there for 5 hours modelling for you guys. Don't complain, all right?
There's his shoes.
I've got shoes. I guess I have to put them on now.
All right.
Yes,
So,
on stream.
so is the general consensus from the team that we like the idea?
It was good. It was good. I think Maz mentioned she'd prefer it to be more on the island, I think. What did you say?
Yeah, I love the idea. It's more, rather than putting on a separate little island of its own, I'd like to bring it onto the island, the main island,
Okay.
and perhaps have the lab as part of the original buildings that are already there.
Good Rick and Morty reference as well. I quite liked the Rick and Morty. It was good.
Right.
But it was a very large piece of content. For the record, it looked big.
As well, didn't it? I assume that's what the green slime was.
Oh, is that what it was?
I assume it's like the chance of it following you. That's like a successful.
We don't talk about pets.
I call it flubber.
Would
Yeah.
you like to give a précis of what the design was?
That'd be
Oh,
a great
the
idea.
benefits.
Yeah.
It was about collecting 3 different types of liquids. One of them was stabilizing water. I can't remember the names of the other 2. They were quite chemical based, and it was about balancing them. Well, getting them all to getting the full. I'm sort of without the actual design there, but yeah, it was cool. It seemed like a good idea that I wouldn't mind going ahead with.
Okay.
I wish I'd memorized it a bit more, but yeah, without it in front of me.
We'll pop
So-
the link in the chat.
Yeah.
As far as do we like it, I trust your judgment, and I say we do like it. So well done. As far as promising that we will do it by X date, obviously, that's not happening.
It's also tentative because,
But maybe.
saying this viable skill now has a way of training it in a non-viable method is a little touchy. And
Yeah.
so keep that in mind.
When I was-
it is a herbal training method.
When I was thinking of my herbal training method, I was thinking of it requiring a few herbs, but not as many as you would need to train. So it would still need some form of herb-based input.
Yeah.
So
It was
not-
it
to
was
not
it was
avoid
it was a
herb
good
prices.
idea, but I would make tweaks to make
Yeah,
it
for sure.
still require some form of expense.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. Nice.
Cool. I'll go
Everyone
back
then.
over to the.
Oh, no, you stay. You're good.
Well, how long we
Shit,
got?
He's got a model of stuff for Theatre of Blood.
Well, we've got 10 minutes. That means I might have to actually attach this, and you know how long that takes.
Okay, all right, never mind.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go back to the computer.
Get back to
Thank
work.
you very much, Mod West.
Thank you, Mad West. All right.
He took his shoes back off.
Okay. This is a weird Q&A.
Yeah.
It's old school.
Good
Let's
questions, though, so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far really good. I appreciate it. Let's get through the rest of these, or at least some more of these. George says, can we have the option to left-click cook on all ranges?
For some reason, Mod West is laughing.
Sorry, I was laughing at the chat.
Oh.
I mean, I guess it's possible. I guess, because I'm not
Is
a
it?
dev, but
Well, we could do it exactly
it
the same
warranted?
way we did it with the anvils.
yeah.
Do you
Come up
want
a few times.
left-click on all ranges? I don't see a single... Oh, I got one yes. Wow, you're brave.
So, this is an odd one because I'd say no.
Yeah.
But if you've used mobile, you'll know how it's a little difficult to tap on something
They
and then tap
choose
on
to
a
limit
thing.
themselves.
They choose.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't.
We have we are testing several things this week in the beta that are mobile specific content changes, as in things will work differently on mobile than in game in terms of how when you click on things they'll act differently. And this seems like one of those things that it's not necessary for the desktop at all, but on mobile clicking the range is a lot easier than it is to tap on the thing and then tap.
It's
But
true.
That's my 2 cents on it, right?
It's crazy that some people are so passionate about this.
Well, let's. If we were to think of the actual things that it's going to impact massively, it would be Catacombs, right? Because you can one-tick cook them by left-click with the new interface, or even with the previous methods that were around before. But
With
this
mobile,
now
you
would just no. But now you'd just be able to spam click the furnace without having to click left, like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be easier. But other methods of fishing, it's not going to change like that many other things, right? Because most things you just cook an inventory at a time and AFK it, and you're just saving one click at that point.
Yeah. Just wanted to throw the argument in there.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am the same. I don't think like I'm quite happy clicking the fish to click on the range.
Yeah.
But
Especially, I quite enjoy doing Catacombs
yeah,
cooking, but I imagine on mobile doing activities like that are going to be a lot more aggravating to you, at which point, if we can fix that.
it's the same as the furnace that we did recently, right? You can
Yeah.
left-click furnaces now, and if you have silver, it will prioritise silver crafting, or gold, it will prioritise gold. So the only thing that it's different in this case is that Catacombs exist.
Mm-hmm.
For what it's worth, when we did it for anvils, you left click on the anvil and it looks through your inventory for something to use on the anvil automatically. And if I recall, it ends up with a slight one-tick delay before as you are using the item. So it didn't turn out to be as much of a efficiency improver as people may have expected
That's
when
really
they voted
interesting,
for it.
actually. Yeah, because you could just essentially add in what would be the same as a click, but in a stall.
So this one surprisingly has a lot more to it from seemingly a very simple question. But we're going to move on, I think. We have a few suggestions to get through this week, so if we can throw up one of the images at random, please. Thank you. There it is. There's the first one. This was the popular one of the week. So.
This is so stupid.
Sword in the Stone, so I'll summarize this for you quickly. It's available to members and free-to-play. 10k buy-in if you want to try to pull the sword out of the
Hang on
stone.
a second, this sounds familiar.
One person per day can pull the sword out of the stone. So if somebody does it, I guess, at 1 minute after midnight, then nobody else can for the rest of the day. And if they do so, they get 20% of the profits or the contributions to wherever
the
the money
80%
goes.
gets lost, right?
And then 80% is completely removed from the game. What they would get is this cosmetic sword that they could wield and do nothing with because it's cosmetic. But they could show off that they happened to win for one day pulling the sword.
All right. Credit where it's due to who made that. You've turned that lotto idea from a few months ago into a much more thematically fitting idea.
Yeah, it's literally just lottery crossed with a
But it's still the lotto.
I'm pretty sure that from conversation, because I thought the lottery idea was pretty cool, right? So I asked about it, and I'm pretty sure there's like certain laws that stop
I'm not
us.
a fan personally.
I'm sure that some laws will stop us from doing it because it's
I'm
gambling.
not sure about that.
No, I think genuinely we'd have to like comply with whatever the legal
We'll have
limit
to
is
comply,
to,
surely. Well, yeah.
to gamble, and that would mean you'd only be able to do it if you're 18, which means that, well, yeah, I guess 18, which means that, well, because RuneScape is a game for 13 plus.
There are legalities to look into. I don't think we've really given it the attention to even like.
Yeah, I'm not verifying that's true information, by the way. That's what I was
Okay.
told. So it might not be true, but that's
Right.
what I got told. So
Anyways, I personally have never been addicted to the duel arena,
no, wouldn't even have.
so I wouldn't even look at this thing. But I know that some players would feel obligated to be like, oh, I've got to do my daily sword 10k pull.
Or would
And
you one pull per day, or could you just pay as many 10Ks as you liked?
You can only pull once a day.
Ah,
okay, there you go, one per day. I don't know how many people that appeals to. If this would pass a poll, it's got tons of support in Twitch. So can we straw poll it?
It's going to be a yes.
Is it?
Yeah. The lottery was like a 90%.
They've wanted it
yes.
for ages. It's just,
Okay, don't straw poll it. Fine. They want it polled.
Chris, sometimes you just have to put your foot down and say no, all right? And this is one of them scenarios where we say no.
I
we're not-
personally don't care for it, but I don't represent the majority of the community, so I leave you guys to it.
I like it. I just don't think we're able. I don't think we're allowed to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if we're allowed.
We'll look into it and do the necessary research.
Yeah.
But
Tell you what, next Q&A I'll have the official answer rather than the I either made it up.
that's a statement.
Okay, I'll find out why we can't do it if we can't.
That being said, again,
Okay, good
I am
luck.
really impressed at how they've made it a bit more thematic. Like,
Yeah, it's a cool idea.
credit where it's due. I'll give you that.
Apart from you
Okay.
would then have like basically 2 versions of Excalibur.
Well,
Well, this wouldn't be Excalibur. This is another sword in another stone.
this is the Lotto sword.
I know. I mean, if you see somebody with this sword, if I saw somebody with this sword, I would just be like, "All right, you got lucky for a day."
Or, well, you'd probably think, by the look of the model, you've just completed...
It wouldn't be that.
King's Round.
It'd be like, "What day did you get the sword?" I got it 3 months ago. I guess that's an enjoyable.
I don't think Excalibur actually comes out of a sword in old school anyway. It comes from a lady in a lake and
That's the one.
then gets blessed at a chaos altar and by Thrantax or whatever. And Thrantax does it after you go to the chaos altar. So I don't think we'd have a problem with it being Excalibur.
Oh, we can make
You know
it golden for 500k and when you shake it in the wilderness.
Okay, somebody said it's a great gold sink, you dork. I agree, you're right. It is. Thank you.
While we're about it, we can have the gold sink in TOH where you can upgrade the one in your kitchen to be a gold sink.
Also a great gold sink.
I love
Right,
that.
we have one last suggestion to get through, please. I think we just have this last image. Yeah, so here it is. This one is not nearly as creative. He's just moved the UI down a bit so it doesn't interfere with the XP tracking thing.
Oh,
So this is pest control.
yeah.
Are we okay to move it down a little bit, do you think? We can move it across if you'd prefer.
Can we not move
We
it
can
down?
treat it like other overlays where we position it based on where the XP one is.
Yes, we
Yeah.
didn't retroactively go through all the existing overlays to do that when we added the XP drops because, well, to be honest, people could already customise where their XP drops went, so it didn't feel necessary. But if they'd like it, we can.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, please. Why even ask? Okay, fine. Jeez.
I just saw it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I did it to Pyramid Plunder actually in the update that's coming tomorrow where the hourglass won't be there. The timer bar will now position itself so as not to overlap with your XP drops because I was working on the interface anyway. I thought it was well do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get through one last question, and it might take me a minute. Let's see, where do we start? NY says, currently the only meta to train construction are building and removing something over and over. It is the most stale and non-diverse skill to train. I propose a new tower defense-like game where players can use their flanks to build different defense items to stop hordes of goblins, demons, etc. from attacking their player-owned house. This method would still use planks, and rewards could be gained in unlocks for different buildings, also some sort of cosmetic reward for getting farther and farther in the game, or some sort of player-owned house upgrade rewards. The experience rates would be marginally lower, maybe 200k per hour, and still cost a similar amount of planks to experience ratio. This will allow creative gameplay to spice up otherwise an extremely dull skill, while still keeping it as an impactful cash sink.
It's a cool idea. I don't know how possible it would be, but your
Mod
own
West
tower
likes
defense.
I
I
like it.
agree with Mod West.
It reminds me slightly of the original design for pest control before it was going to be about, well, before it was so much about combat. It was going to be more focused on repairing the defences around the central thing.
So tower defense games have been out for like
Ever.
at least a decade,
Not forever,
right?
but yeah.
Like
long
one of the
time.
first games I remember playing was Bloons Tower Defense.
Yeah.
And my God, what a great game.
What a good game. Get on mobile now, mate. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, if we can make balloons now, I think we could make something. This sounds massive. This sounds like a huge ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? I don't know what scale this update is on.
Pretty big.
You spell balloons B-A-L-L, right? Not
No,
B-L.
it's- the game is spelled BLOON.
Do you think the person who made the game just didn't know how to spell balloons, or?
Oh, it's just.
It's a cool idea. Cool idea.
Yeah, it really is.
It's dependent on the scale.
It's
and
like
cost, right?
similar with
Yeah.
Another cool idea we had before was the contracts for construction as well, which we all like. So yeah, I mean, really cool idea. It's just what rewards.
I mean, to go back to your question about thieving earlier, in terms of skills that I would personally like to give the next TLC, tender loving care to, would probably be construction. And for me, I think the blueprint idea that we spoke about many times before is probably my favourite so far.
I really like this idea.
But this is a cool. Is it the nostalgia of your tower defense games?
No, it's not the same thing on repeat.
Yeah, it's
So the
different.
entire
Well, actually,
several
that's
hours of
literally
training.
what tower defense is.
But there's variety to it, and there's strategy, and you can share records.
I'm not trying to be that
cosmetic
guy, but it is
improvements.
technically the same thing over and over.
I've suddenly become very passionate about this idea.
Do you want to make
Great
it?
idea. I do not. Okay. We're going to finish the Q&A there. So we've got plenty to hang on to for next week. That's fantastic. If you missed it, Mod West showed off the Justiciar armor that he's working on.
Just a car.
Just a car.
Just a car.
Just a
Yeah,
car.
I'm sorry. As well as some spider monsters to come from Theater of Blood. Very exciting. There might be a clip or so on Reddit if you've missed it. Otherwise, this will be uploaded to YouTube shortly. That being said, guys, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.